So I'm out this one night, I'm at this heavy metal show, and it's crazy. There's people jumping off the stage. They got split the crowd down the middle and did the wall of death, you know? People are actively seeking concussions. So amidst this whirlwind of bad decisions, I see this one little tiny woman just getting pulverized. And I'm like, what is nobody doing anything? The security's not helping, nobody in the crowd's doing anything. I decided it was up to me. So, people have told me I look like a combination of Jack Black and Liam Neeson. So, in that moment, I became Liam Neeson, the stronger of the two. I quickly developed a very specific skill set I do not possess. And then I charge through the crowd like gangs in New York, swing a big crescent float, and I scoop up my daughter who had been kidnapped by those fools in Paris, and carry her off to the side, and I sit her down. And as I lean in to see if she's okay, she hauls off and decks me. Caught me square. And then she called me a series of slurs, and then ran back into the mosh pit. Not the reaction I was expecting. This caught the entire crowd's attention, and they all hit me at the same time with, "Oh!" If you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it's really uncool. So it doesn't end there. The singer stops the show and points me out. "That chick just clocked that loser. She's hardcore." The entire venue has now turned on me. I cast myself as the hero, and now the villain. So I decide to leave, and as I'm walking out, the crowd berates me, and cheers are like, "Good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. You said this wrong, thank you." So I go outside, I take out my phone, and I call my mother, and I tell her what I'm looking for in a wife, is what I figured out tonight. Energetic, enthusiastic, and not afraid to knock somebody out to get her goals. I had a heckler at a show the other day. It's my first one, actually. I felt very, very special. This very drunk guy from the back stands up and goes, "You're the worst Elvis impersonator I have ever seen." Fair note. But he stormed out after that, and I was like, "Man, don't be cruel." I got all shook up. So, based on the fact that you're all looking this direction, you likely caught that I have ADHD. One of the medications I take for it causes loss of appetite for a side effect. But I smoke a lot of weed. So, in the morning, I take my meds and I get super blazed and I just let me fight it out for the day. It's like a neurological samurai battle. I never know who's gonna win. You know, for lunch, am I having a light snack or half the Taco Bell menu? Another thing I'm really into is horror films. I love horror films. So I used to go to a lot of horror movie conventions. And one year, I was living in LA. I got a job working at a horror movie convention. So where all these famous people came in, they were all in famous horror movies. It was wonderful. So the people running it wanted to get somebody to bring in a real crowd, bring in a real draw, you know what I mean? So they could have gotten like, you know, Robert Englund, you know, Elvira, Bruce Campbell, somebody famous to the horror community. They went in a different direction. They got O.J. Simpson. That O.J. Simpson. And you're probably saying, was O.J. Simpson ever in a horror movie? Yeah, Life. Based on a true story. So the convention rolls around. We are selling shirts that say, "I met OJ and lived." He saw them too and thought they were hilarious. That is a man with a sense of humor about his life. Now, this was in 2005, so this was on the 10th anniversary of his acquittal. It was 5 minutes down the road from where the murder happened and right off of the freeway where the Bronco chase occurred. It was like he was going home. So during the convention, I spot the man. And I creep my way over to get a handshake. And I reach in, we make eye contact, boom, boom. And his giant catcher's mitt of a hand just envelops mine. it made sense he could hold a bladed weapon or football. And I'm looking down thinking, oh, I know where that's been. And I also thought about, man, I shouldn't get my fingerprints on this too. So off he went, and people stood in line for him all weekend yelling, Nordberg! If you don't get that joke, ask your parents. So that day in LA, the juice was loose. And although I didn't get a shirt, I got to meet OJ, and I lived.